How's it going, Laser Bruce's on Bobby Sixkilla, and today we're going to be checking out a game called Novena Diabolos. Now, this may or may not be a first impressions video. Well, I mean, it is a first impressions video, but it may or may not be a complete series. I don't know yet. That will be a factor decided on how I feel about the game, how your guys' reaction is to the game, and all of that sort of jazz. But it looks very promising. It is a Korean game, obviously you can tell by the under the title there. And it looks like real polished. It's one that came out at the end of 2021, I believe, like November 2021, if I remember correctly. We just never got around to it, so let's do it now, shall we? Apparently it's reasonably short too, so I don't have any previous save files, so that's fine. Certain endings are excluded. Oh man. Crime scenes are still randomized. I don't understand what this means. Isn't this a spoiler right here? Either Rin Chae or Sumi Choi is the human. Alright, we'll go streaming mode and we'll see what happens, okay? We'll see. Let me know if I did that wrong. This game is pure fiction. Its contents have no connection to any existing locations, names, people, event, organizations, or institutions. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. I see. Oh my god. That was loud considering there was no noise. 8 days until the selection. Alright. I don't really know what we're doing here, but we're going to find out real quick. No clouds in the sky, meaning you'll be able to enjoy a clear sky all weekend, making this the perfect time to spend some cozy days with your family. Such nice weather. This isn't what I call a clear sky at all. There I go, mumbling to myself again. I have to stop complaining about everything so much. The whole road is covered by dense fog. It's the complete opposite of what they're saying on the radio. And this much fog out of nowhere is something that never happens normally. These mountains are pretty remote, but it's still highly unusual, even for a place like this. Thanks, navigation system, I will turn left. Given the current atmosphere, the GPS's voice sounds inappropriately happy. Oh man, if only you could have a GPS that would like change its mood depending on the atmosphere. That'd be pretty cool. I slowly turn the steering wheel to the left. A road sign with the name of the place I'm headed for is faintly visible through the fog. Looks like the GPS is actually doing its job. Fucking hope so. Maybe a little too overeager for my own good, I step on the gas. In this fog? Are you nuts? The tires turn quickly as I keep driving right into the fog. Someone's got a death wish. I keep driving along the road, which is almost completely covered in hazy, thick fog. I can't make out a single detail of the background scenery, which makes it feel like I'm just driving along the same old road with no end in sight. It's okay, I've got this. Everything's going well so far. In a sudden onset of anxiety, I start nervously tapping the steering wheel with my index finger. Everything's fine, right? Next up is our current events show. And today's guest is, well, surely everyone knows him. Knows this program is familiar with him. News Trace's very own PD, Program Director Suk-hoon Kim. Hello? I am PD Suk-hoon Kim. Apologize for pronunciation. Hello? It sounds like someone's a little nervous in the spotlight. I know that voice on the radio quite well. It's Suk-hoon Kim, who's my senior at the company, a well-recognized PD who strongly opposed my coverage. Quite frankly, his voice is the last thing I want to be hearing right now. But he might be talking about news that involves me too, so I deliberately turn the frequency back just in time. I'm certain you're very proud to be here, and people will surely forgive your nervousness. Indeed. In fact, News Trace is a program built upon the foundation of trust. Isn't that so? As a matter of fact, we ran into some heated controversy quite recently. We did a lot of internal reflecting in regards to that. You're talking about my story. I hit the steering wheel out of sheer frustration. In any case, I'd be lying if I said I'm entirely without fault. As an employee of News Trace, he, as well as others, suffered the consequences. There's no reason to lash out at someone for simply doing their job. Right. Because it's always my fault. News Trace. Without a doubt the best news program around, and among the most trusted throughout career. I had always wanted to become a PD at CISA Journal. When I got the chance to work at News Trace, I kept pursuing my dream. A position as a PD at News Trace. All I could ever ask for. Yet as it turns out, one guy is enough to undermine a news outlet's credibility. And that guy just happens to be pathetic old me. This is strange. I feel like I've been through here before. Please don't tell me I'm lost. In 300 meters, turn right. Just in time, the GPS's voice guides me in the right direction. There's absolutely nobody around, but switching on the turn signal is second nature. Funny how that works. I mean, you legally have to do it whether there's someone around or not. You were talking about internal trouble? You see, unnecessary stubbornness is a vice that can blind people and keep them from seeing things for what they actually are. It's very frustrating to see young, promising talents fall victim to that kind of unprofessional behaviour. Getting caught up in ridiculous stories is a waste of manpower and time that could be used for actually productive things. Can't believe it. Would you listen to that guy? Despite trying my best, I can't keep myself from cursing. He's clearly talking about me. He's talking about what I've discovered so far and trying to dismiss it as absurd. He's doing it openly to convince the public of my mistake. I know exactly what he thinks of my coverage. I really do. Honestly, I can understand his point of view. Nobody likes to be talked about like that behind their back. I stare at the radio angrily. I do so even though I know exactly that it won't make him shut up. But it still feels good. I eventually give up and reach for the radio. I should listen to some music instead. Huh? What's going on here? The radio's acting up. I play around with the frequencies a little. Everything about this place is gloomy, and the radio is creeping me out. Turn right. Whoa! Surprised by the sudden curve, I take my eyes off the radio. You always have to be on alert on mountain roads like this. Things can go awfully wrong in an instant. Suddenly the car is headed straight into the thick fog. Everything's covered by the fog. I can't make out a single thing in front of me. Keep going straight. Straight? But that curve just now, I'm pretty sure that's... Everything about this current situation is too unsettling for my taste. I'm nervous. You should stop the car then, idiot. Whew, jeez. The car comes to a stop just in time. A second later and it would have veered off the road. Had I gone any further, I would have crashed right into the railing. I barely managed to prevent a horrible accident. Keep going straight. Go straight. Go straight. Go straight and... That's a cool effect, I like that. I look at the ruined GPS system in disbelief. The car's engine doesn't look as if it survived the ordeal either. I don't know what the hell just happened, but... First things first, I should find a way out of this damn fog. Don't do this to me. Okay then, so this is how it's gonna be. Goddamn piece of crap car. Damn it, everything about this is a mess before it even started. Kim's face pops up in my mind, with a stern look reprimanding me. I can't let him have the last laugh. I need to stay calm. The car just broke down. Phew. Hopelessness starts to sweep over me as I get out of the car. I have absolutely no clue where I am because of the disorienting fog. And my only means of transportation just died on me. I was supposed to arrive at the interview location for my case today. But I can forget about things going according to schedule now. It can't be helped, it's out of my control. I decided that the smartest thing to do right now is to contact my boss. I doubt he'd be pleased to hear from me. The guy didn't listen and ventured out on his own. But I still have to make a report. What? Why isn't the call... Huh? No signal. Am I really that deep in the mountains? Try as I might, I simply can't find a way to establish contact to the outside world. No, this isn't working. Well, I should probably have a look around. If I'm lucky, there's some sort of rest stop or motel nearby. Otherwise, I should start mentally preparing for quite a hike. Guess I'll have to leave the car here. I start packing up some things from the car that could prove useful. Having packed my things, I tighten the straps on my backpack and start walking along the road. I sure hope I'm not too far from civilization. I wonder how long I've been walking for already. It's hard to tell. What have we got here? Hope Hill Village. I look around and try to make out things in the fog. The sun is starting to set already, meaning I'll probably have to stay there for the night. At the village, there should be a way to establish contact to the outside world. Maybe I can even score an interview for the case I'm investigating. Following the sign should lead me to the village. This is starting off very similar to Vigilant Villa, isn't it? I sure hope it's not too far away. Seems like the village is further away than I thought. I stop for a moment and take a look around. Ooh, the sun's gone now, and all that's left is the pale blue moonlight reflected off the road. That tree. What is that? What a strange tree. Strips of white cloth are tied to the dying tree, moving slowly in the faint wind. Just looking at it gives me goosebumps for some reason. Nope, too creepy for my taste. I pass the tree while rubbing my arms to ward off the goosebumps. The further I walk away from it, the quieter the eerie sound of the wheezing wind gets. Looks like this is it. I take a good look at the whole village from afar. The entrance to the village is covered by so much ominous fog, it makes me reluctant to keep walking. The buildings look desolate and shabby. Branches and twigs protrude from crumbling walls. Loose windows rattle in the wind at even the slightest breeze. I'm in trouble. Big, big trouble. Like Team Rocket. I mumble to myself, fairly aware that I've gotten myself stuck in one of the worst places possible. Highly hesitant and with reluctant steps, I enter the village. One day off. That's all. Man, those backgrounds are so detailed. There are villages that look bad from the outside and turn out to be nice and quaint, but this isn't one of them. The fog throughout the village is so thick it feels like a horror movie. But although the place is remote and has no cell phone signal, I do spot a few people around. I need to solve the most urgent issue first. Is there a place nearby with a phone I can use? I look around and see a villager walking in my direction, so I approach him. Excuse me. I immediately shut my mouth and regret having said anything. The villager's eyes are empty and randomly wander around, and his body is shockingly skinny and malnourished. His appearance reminds me of the drug addicts you sometimes see in big cities. The man looks at me and smiles, passing me by with anxious, stilted steps. Jeez, that's creepy. Wonder what his deal is. I don't have a good feeling about any of this. I look back with uneasiness as I rub my arms to ward off the cold. The man walks off with creaking, frail legs and disappears into the fog. Suddenly I get the feeling that he seems strangely familiar. Weird, I think I've seen him somewhere before. I mutter to myself and start walking again. It's hard to keep track of time in this place. I arrive in front of the building. The sign outside reads Hope Hill Motel. So there's a motel in this place after all. I mumble something to myself and push open the door. If this is an actual motel, there's got to be a landline phone. The whole place looks very old-fashioned and rural. A classic countryside motel. It doesn't smell particularly bad and looks clean enough. That's already more than I was expecting. With that thought in mind, I make my way to the counter. The motel owner, who's sitting at the counter, looks at me with a curious expression on his face. Maybe it's because he's not used to seeing customers. I highly doubt many people from the outside pass through here. Just you? Need a room for one? Can I use your phone before booking one? Phone? Yeah, I have an urgent call to make, but my cell phone isn't working. Oh my, how unfortunate. I'm well aware of my bad luck. I'm sure you've noticed that the fog has befallen us. Once the fog's like that, you can barely see your own feet on the ground. With fog like that, no public transportation is running. Nothing will pass through here. And oddly enough, the phone appears to have stopped working. The motel owner picks up the phone in front of him. He dials random numbers and tries to make a call, but nothing happens. Just take a look at it for yourself. It's not working. So there's no way to get in contact with the outside world? Why would you even come here at a time like this? You on a business trip or something? Well, yes. I've got some things I need to take care of nearby. I can't do anything if there's no way to call this in. What are my options here? Well, I'm afraid there isn't much I can do. Having bad luck every now and then is the price we pay for living. But don't worry. This is quite a common occurrence in this area. You'll receive an official confirmation letter proving you actually got stuck here. You won't get fired from your job. If what he's saying is true, this strange fog seems to be some sort of natural disaster around these parts. Is that actually a thing? It's the first time I've ever heard of fog like this in this country. I cast a puzzled look at the motel owner, but he doesn't seem to be paying much attention as he writes down something in the lodging sheet. The fog will clear up in a day or two. Please stay here and rest until that happens. There isn't that much fog within the village itself. You shouldn't feel too uncomfortable. We have a supermarket in our village. You should be able to find everything you need there. I guess there's nothing I can do about it. Well then, sign me up for a room for one, please. Please write down your name right here. I signed my name on the lodging sheet. There you go. Oh, but if there's no signal at all, my card won't work. Am I right? Do I have any cash on you? I'm afraid not, just some change. We'll postpone it for now and you can pay me once the fog's cleared. Junsung Park. That's the name then. Alright, here's your key. You'll be staying in room 301. Thank you very much. No problem. Helping each other out is what we're put on this earth for. I bow my head to the smiling motel owner and head off to my room. Throwing my backpack over my shoulder, I open up the door that leads to my room. My accommodation is relatively neat, which isn't that surprising. The motel is very sporadic, even by countryside standards. Well, this place isn't too bad. At least the floor's clean. I take off my coat and enter the room. Wow, what's going on all of a sudden? I suddenly find myself lying on the motel floor. My body feels heavy yet relaxed. All kinds of thoughts are washing over me. I calm myself down and keep my mind stable and my head clear, and the dizziness fades. What a bad time for this to happen. Events of the past unfold in my mind. I'd gotten the scoop of all scoops. A dead body. Evidence openly scattered all around it. The perfect scoop in any reporter's eyes. I covered the case faster than anyone else, and drew final conclusions on the case that were widely publicised. And I fell flat on my face doing so. What I reported turned out to be more of a novel than an actual fact. I was criticised by everyone for spreading misinformation, and my boss, who'd vouched for me, had to take responsibility for all of it. That's when things became awkward between us. The incident turned a relationship of admiration and mutual respect sour. I was reprimanded and my pay was cut. And for a while I was in a daze and couldn't quite believe what happened myself. While everything that I'd ever worked for crumbled around me, I met the reporter, Hosuk Cho. So you're really gonna let your life be ruined by that one thing? Come on, I bet that's not how you envisioned your dream playing out, am I right? Or am I right? His bright and positive attitude made me come back to my senses quickly. He's right. I can fix my mistake by trying again and proving everyone wrong. That was the promise I made to myself before jumping into this case. A mass disappearance case. My research made me realize that there were some common connections and overlapping similarities in these nationwide disappearances. Chasing leads on this case is what ultimately led me here. However, due to the recent development of special tourism zones, this whole area is very different from what is shown on the GPS map. I got lost and the GPS had trouble keeping up. The fact that there is zero information about this village may be related to that as well. Anyway, this village is part of the area too. As a result, it is automatically part of my investigational research. He said this fog will clear up in a day or two, but I shouldn't let that time go to waste. Twiddling my thumbs and doing nothing would be foolish. My time would be better spent researching and looking for leads and clues in this village. Alright, I get up. My body feels tense again, instead of limp and weak, and I'm back in control. Time to unpack my luggage. I take out the journal I use for notes and put it in my coat pocket. Then I make sure my phone camera works before plugging into the charger into the outlet. Time to take all the files out of the backpack and arrange them in order. And... Huh? It's a fairy tale book by Hosuke Cho. He gave me as a gift, sorry. The gift's purpose is to remind me of my initial commitment. After a short moment, I set the book aside. I open the bottle of water that's been placed in my room and take a sip from it and look around. Not too shabby, really. Neat, tidy, and quiet. This room's good enough to serve as a temporary office for interviews and other things, at least for a day or two. I'll just have to accept that things around here won't go as smoothly as they would on the outside. Damn it, I wish I could have made that call at least. A sudden ringing in my cell phone takes me by surprise. I thought there was no signal around here. I cast a confused look at my phone. The text says 8 days until the selection, and it's from 66666666666. The sender is unknown. I fiddle around with my phone and hold it toward the ceiling, but no matter what I do, I can't get a signal. It's a prank message? Is this a prank message my phone picked up by accident? What's the meaning of this? It could just be a prank, but given the circumstances, it still makes me feel uneasy. I can't stop staring at it. I drop my phone. Feeling nervous and anxious, I carefully pick it up from the ground. Lake? Another mysterious text message by an unknown sender. I keep fiddling around with my phone for a while, but all of this is far too cryptic for me to make sense of it. In the end, I put my phone away and bury my head in the semi-soft pillow. This has got to be some sort of mistake. Time to get some sleep. I shouldn't needlessly worry about things like this. "7 days until selection. That's 1 day down. Is it really morning already? I look around with my eyes half open. Even though the sun is up, the room is dark because of the fog. Groggy and far from well rested, I crawl out from under the blanket. I really don't want to get up and would much rather stay wrapped up in the cozy warm blanket. But the fact that I didn't shower before going to bed yesterday is making itself painfully obvious. First things first, time to take a shower. Fortunately for me, and honestly somewhat unexpectedly, the hot water here actually runs well. Considering the village's location, I can't say I was expecting to find a shower like this, rustic as it may be. The hot water gently washes away most of my morning fatigue. I let it pour down my body for a while. Refreshed and energized, I check the time and see if it isn't as late as I thought. Looks like I woke up earlier than usual, which makes sense because I fell asleep early too. I take a moment to look outside my window and take in the village scenery. It's hard to consider the village beautiful by any standard. The fog that's spreading throughout it only amplifies my negative impression. It calms my mind, washing away some of yesterday's anxiety. Maybe it's a little too early, but getting a lay of the land in advance can't hurt. I can familiarise myself with the town's geography. It's been a long time since I've last been to such a remote place and stayed in a motel. There's nothing I can do if I stay cooped up in this room. Time to head out. Huh? Just as I'm about to leave the room, the phone rings again. 7 days until the selection. An unknown sender yet again. It's getting harder and harder to dismiss this as a misdirected prank. There's clearly no signal, no reception, yet these messages somehow managed to get through. I still have no idea what they could mean. What selection is this about anyway? I mumble to myself and put my phone away. Anonymous messages really do have a way of unnerving me. And that's understandable, especially when there's no reception. The motel owner is sitting at the reception counter. Even though it's still so early in the morning, he doesn't strike me as someone who's just gotten up. Oh my, why are you up already? Don't tell me you didn't sleep well. He looks at me with a puzzled expression. I reply as I leave the key with him. I tend to wake up early. I think I'll have a look around. What about you? Are you an early bird gets the worm type too? The people here all tend to get up very early. Most of them return back home at around 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock? We're talking afternoon here? Something important happening here lead to that being the current way of life. You'll have to work around that time if you intend to get good coverage for your story. People usually stay inside their rooms until it's time for dinner. There's a restaurant here. They serve tasty food if you crave something nourishing. And don't worry about the opening times. It's not like things fully close down after 1 o'clock. Interesting, so the people living here stay inside, but only from 1 o'clock in the evening. Almost sounds like a curfew of sorts. It's a weird way to go about one's day, no doubt, but as an outsider, it really doesn't concern me. Alright then, thank you for the information. With these words, I leave the motel. Or rather, I want to do so, but something is bothering me. Did I ever bring up what I'm actually working on during our conversations? If I did, I must have forgotten about it. I look back. The motel owner is looking in my direction with an almost grimacing smile. I start to feel unnerved all of a sudden, and leave the motel with hasty steps. Despite the stuffy fog, the morning air still feels quite cold. Although the village is shrouded in fog, it's nowhere near as bad as it was on the road yesterday. I can't make out the buildings in the distance, but at least I can see my nearby surroundings. Alright, time for me to take a tour of the village and have a look around. While looking around, I find myself standing by the lake. Lost and confused, I stand by the lake's side, right in the thick fog. I shake my head to regain some focus. The wind blows, sending ripples across the lake's surface. The water's unpleasant smell is spread through the air by the fog. I look back. Luckily for me, I can see the road from here. It should lead me back to the village. This is weird. How did I end up here? I scratch my head and look around. What is this? Something feels off about this place. It's the overall atmosphere. It feels strangely oppressive. What's going on here? Why am I so on edge? It's like my whole body is telling me to get as far away from here as possible. Still, I ignore my body's warning signs. As if possessed, I keep walking into the unknown. A highly unpleasant smell lingers in the air. Yuck! The smell's getting stronger. It's that of stale meat, mixed with traces of the fishy smell of iron. I stop walking. What is this? The smell is coming from right in front of me. In front of me there's... No way. I look around. There's no sign of life apart from myself. I don't know if that's encouraging or scares me even more. I take small steps and move my feet slowly. I cover my mouth with my hand, trying my best to deal with the smell. Well, that goes dead. I turn my head away. Despite my determination, it's hard for me to look at the horrible scene of savagery right in front of my eyes. Oh god. Oh no. I keep my mouth closed and breathe in a controlled fashion to calm myself. I close my eyes and keep them shut tight, then slowly open them again, this time better prepared for what awaits me. If I'm not mistaken, this is real. Very much so. It looks like a person. Though, I would like to tell myself that it's just a mannequin, I'm afraid the body in front of me is indeed a real one. Yes, that is definitely a person, alright. Or rather was a person, I guess. I stare at the stiff body's pale skin. The flow of blood has long stopped, never to return again. Every ounce of life has been drained from it. It's like a lifeless slab of meat on display in a butcher's shop. Ugh. I use my hands to cover my mouth in order to stop myself from vomiting. Ugh, what the hell? I do my best to shake off the fear and come to my senses. Okay then, time for some rational thinking. I need to check the surroundings. A person is dead. It's a real body, not a doll or a mannequin. And around the body, strange traces remain. You mean that weird fucking ritualistic circle on the floor of blood? Yeah. I noticed that too. Traces that indicate that this is as far from a natural death as it gets. Murder. Murder most foul. That's the first word that comes to mind. The initial shock from seeing the body is followed by another feeling, an instinctive fear creeping up from deep within. Maybe the killer is still nearby. Maybe this is something I was never supposed to say. I don't think that whoever killed this guy in this fashion was concerned about other people seeing it. You know? Otherwise you wouldn't just fuck them up and leave them all gory and dead on a pier or something with a ritualistic circle carved next to them. You might hide them or throw them in the water or something. I don't know. However, this fear gives birth to an idea in my mind. Could this maybe... I recall the mass disappearance case I've been working on. These cases have been popping up nationwide. And though it may seem trivial, they all share a weird commonality. Until now, I wasn't quite sure what the connecting factor between the cases could be. But looking at this corpse, a keyword comes to mind. Religion. I look at the body again. My eyes wander over the strange traces around it. What if this bizarre death is somehow related to the religion in question? What if religion is what connects these killings and disappearance cases? With that in mind, I raise myself up with what can only be described as an automatic movement. I'm still very afraid, obviously. However, it is my unquenched thirst for answers, my never-ending curiosity that drives me. The next thing I know, I'm approaching the scene with my phone in hand and the camera ready to go. And with that, we're going to wrap this episode up here, because we're out of time for today, but I'm fascinated. We're definitely at least doing a full single playthrough. I don't know if it's like got multiple playthroughs with different endings. It sounds like it's randomized, so it's different every time or something. But we're going to at least do one playthrough, because I'm fascinated with what's going to happen next. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.